glasses, and now you're about to have an immersive experience and go back to 1314. So if you come this way.
So the visitor centre was updated. There has been a visitor centre there since the 1960s, but it was updated to mark the 700th anniversary of the battle. It's been described as one of the most important events on British soil and defines the relationship between the Scots and the English. One of the challenges in Bannockburn is that no objects have actually survived the 700 years since the battle. So unlike a traditional museum or visitor centre where you're studying objects and maybe reading graphic panels or maybe even potentially watching a film about something, that just wasn't possible in this. So we had to take a completely new approach to interpretation. So what if we could get the audience to sort of divide into two armies and actually simulate a battle, them fighting each other, and so that they go through a similar kind of thought process that the commanders 700 years ago did.
Basically you'll have the English on this side and the Scots on this side. At the moment the army of the Scots is actually training, so they're taking it easy. And then suddenly you may be immersed in the middle of a battle, the middle of the actual battle on the second day. What you're seeing on screen has been reproduced in terms of the weaponry here. So you've got things like a war knife, axes, crossbows, even right down to the very clothing they would wear themselves. And that gives you an idea, not only are you immersed in the period through the interactive technology, but you can get an idea of physically what it must have been like. But most of it is motion capture, and then it's basically then computer generated based on the research of the academic panel. The faces on the individuals have been scanned on by real human beings. As well as the interactive high definition technology, we have touch screens here as well. So what these do is these will give you further information on how you actually play the game. So for example, before you take part in the game, you're learning all about the medieval life, and then you would go through here and this will break the game down. For example, when you see this symbol, this means spearmen. If you see this other symbol, it means cavalry. And again, all this touch screen is a part of the learning curve, so you'll have a great idea when you actually take place what's going to happen in the battle room. And hopefully you'll win the battle, be you English or Scots.
The fight choreography and the immersive 3D space within which that takes place helps to tell the battle because it's the step before people actually fight. So in that space, visitors are walking in practically fresh off the street, and we're trying to get them up to speed on medieval battle weapons, soldiers, tactics, and just general warfare. And we need to do that in a really snappy, quick way, which doesn't rely on text, which doesn't rely on narrative voiceovers. So we designed a space that is a virtual space that when you sat inside that sort of immersive room, although the room is probably no bigger than the average sort of badminton court, it actually feels like you're in the middle of a huge field because of the 3D depth. Electrosonic were involved in the design of the scheme. They were involved with the design in terms of risk, and throughout that whole process I found we always got the answers we were looking for from a design point of view. And then throughout the procurement and installation period, exceeded the expectations, the big expectations that we put on Electrosonic.
The system we have here is highly reliable. We have state-of-the-art computers, our projection equipment as well. It's all been really high spec. We've had maybe one or two problems initially beginning, but that was nothing that, the response time was fantastic, and generally it's been fixed really quickly. So considering that these things work 360 days a year, and they're open, we're open 10 till 5:30, and they have a high volume of traffic. It is quite incredible that we've had no problems with them.
I've always found that Electrosonic were a safe pair of hands for technical challenges, and this project is a major technical challenge. With it being such a large, with there being such a dominance of audiovisual and digital technology in the interpretation centre, the eyes of the industry will be on us, because if this works, then a lot of other clients will be looking at digital interpretation. If it fails, then a lot of other clients will be turning away from digital interpretation. So we needed what we considered to be the sort of the best in the industry to work with on that. Extra to that, Electrosonics' experience outside of the leisure industry in command and control centres demonstrated to us that Electrosonic had the ability to create systems which enjoyed, close to 100% uptime. And obviously, when we're putting something digital and interactive at the core of an offer, it has to work. There are no excuses. It's not like a traditional museum where if this film or this interactive isn't working, it doesn't really matter. You just put a sign over it saying sorry. This absolutely has to work the whole time.
Excuse my appearance, Commander. I wear the very best armour and clothing that I can afford. My padded coat can even stop the arrows of the Welsh longbowmen, as long as they don't get too close.
We have basically 5 characters from the battle. These are real human beings that existed during the period. And the idea is when you come in, they'll basically react to you and start to talk to you. You would then put your hand up, because a little symbol will come up. You put your hand up and you interact with them. So when you press on the information, it's kind of like a Wii system. When you press on the information, they start to enhance why they're there, what they're doing there. You may go to a museum who may have one piece of material which is interactive, but at Bannockburn, everything here is interactive, so it's completely different. And that offers a unique experience for people when they come to visit Bannockburn. Sense of detail right down to spots on the soldiers' faces is incredible, and the high definition and 4K quality that we have is incredible. It really does place you in the middle of a battle.
Without Electrosonics designers really listening to our vision and trying to understand and share our vision, and without listening to what we were saying about clients' needs in the long term for a digital interpretation centre, it just wouldn't have been possible.
Proved extremely popular, even from people who, when they first have all come in and they're not sure about it and they're not sure if they want to play it. What it does do is you have a room full of 30 people who don't know each other, but at the end of the, half an hour later, once they've played the game, they'll engage in conversation in the cafe or out to the monuments of exactly what went wrong or what went right during the battle. So it's a really interesting social experiment to bring people together.
Okay, so if you can go to number 22, you'll head round this side, and number 14 for yourself going round this side here. And it's all set up and ready to go. So 14 is the English Army. You'll see you get more shields there, and 22 is the Scottish Army. You get half the number of troops, I'm afraid, about 10,000 soldiers. So you're going to make a move first. First unit is a cavalry unit, and this big white jagged cloud is how far you can move the troops. Okay, so you can move anywhere inside that. Okay. And because a lot of these Scottish units are inside the white area, then you can attack one of them if you want to.
So there's normally 30 people who would come in here. And what we have here is basically an accurate map of the Stirling terrain, and projected onto this terrain is the elements of the Battle of Bannockburn. This was done using a LiDAR scan, so a plane was flown over Stirling, a little radar basically recorded every area, and we digitally printed it out and laminated it in, so it's now a 3D dimensional map. Based on historical evidence and a recent survey by the University of Stirling, we then basically could detail various areas of Stirling and various areas of the battle. What I like about Electrosonic is that they're highly reliable and you're in safe hands. The response time is fantastic. If anything does happen and we have to phone up, we had a very reliable technicians that are with us. They were there on the install, and they're still there servicing as well, and even previously in the other centre that we had. I knew we were in safe hands the moment we appointed them. I would recommend Electrosonic to everybody who was either in the existing market, or who were considering, certainly if they're going to take on a project as ambitious as this.
The 3 biggest benefits of working with Electrosonic are, number 1, they're all nice people. Number 2, there are multiple arms to the organisation, and sort of knowledge can transfer from one to the other. We found that very important. And thirdly, I would say the speed of response when given a design challenge. So, is this possible and how much is it going to cost? And the speed of reaction time made it possible that we could look at a number of different scenarios and find out the one that was best for us and move forward with that rapidly.
The new visitor centre has made my work or my job a lot easier because I no longer have to look at an old high-definition movie. We've got a great offer here in terms of what we offer to the public. It's the visitor enjoyment and the satisfaction we get from people who either come back, if they originally come as school children, and they bring their families back, which is fantastic, or you just have the repeat visit who wants to come and play the game again, or just to see the immense experience that they have here. If I was recommending Electrosonic to any other business, I would say they're highly dependable, highly reliable, and highly dedicated. The level of service, to be really honest, if I'd had them in various other aspects of the project team, then you're very much in safe hands with them.
What I've most liked about working with Electrosonic has been really to take ideas that we've been working on together for decades, really, just little ideas here and there, little words said about the power of one technology against another, take all that together and put that into something significant. It feels like it's part of a journey that we've been going on with Electrosonic.
The results and benefits are ongoing for Bannockburn. We've had huge visitor numbers. We've had the world press come in and look at us and examine this. We've hit a benchmark in terms of delivery of basically a visitor attraction. We've won Best Visitor Attraction of the Year under the ASVA. We're happy with that. We've won a digital award as well. We're up for more awards. So for Bannockburn, we're particularly proud of this project. I think it's been an incredible experience not only for the visitors, but for those working on the project.